Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Spiritual Journey TV. I'm your host, Knights Templar, and this is our other host,
Mary Silvernail. Thank you for tuning in to Spiritual Journey TV.
So tell them what our story is about tonight.
Well, it's in reference to the Stigmata, and we're very blessed to have guests here tonight that had actually received miracles and had been present for miracles with wonderful Ray. So I think maybe if we start over there with Deanie.
Hello, I'm Diana Saltarelli, and I continue Ray's mission of spreading the word of the rosary and helping the poor with the Ray of Hope Foundation. And my daughter, Sammy, received a miracle when she was 2 years old.
What was the miracle?
She was paralyzed in her legs, and
Wow.
the doctors didn't know if she'd walk again.
Wow.
I would say
Amazing. Absolutely. That's a miracle.
That's a miracle.
And I met Ray, and he asked me to pray the rosary and promised when she would walk, and then she started walking.
That's wonderful. And
My name's Greg Krapp. I have known Ray through my wife and got to know him well at the onset of the stigmata and the oil dripping from all parts of his home. The painting, the walls would fill up with pictures just made from miraculous oil. So I knew Ray and his wife Nancy very well.
very good.
Blessed. And Veronica, hi.
Hi, my name is Veronica Vacchiano, and I'm here with my mother, Margaret. I've just been very blessed to be a part of her journey for the past 28 years, so just here in support of her.
Thank you for coming.
Thank
tonight.
you.
Very well put.
Margaret.
Hi, I'm Margaret Vacchiano, and I met Ray in the year 2000 when my kids were 6'4", and 6 weeks old, and I had fourth stage lymphoma in my bone marrow, and with Ray and his prayers, I was miraculously healed.
A miracle, truly a miracle,
Yes.
especially when you had told us before the show, you explained to us how the doctors really didn't believe you, that you had been healed, but you knew it.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
amazing, absolutely
And they
amazing.
kept on testing you, too.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
I love it when
They wrote me off, basically.
yes,
Yeah.
I love it when they're baffled. I love it when they're baffled. They don't think outside of the box. They're taught pill for this, pill for that, pill for this, pill for that. They don't think out of the box. If you don't find a place that's mind, body, spirit that goes along with your, I guess if you want to call it medications, okay, it's not a good thing. Not a
So
good thing.
I wonder, Deanie, can you please tell us who Ray was, or about the whole experience and everything, please?
Sure. Well, unfortunately, Ray passed away almost 12 years ago. But I met him in 1999. My daughter suddenly stopped walking. Again, I was going to all the top doctors in the country, neurologists. Nobody could find out what was wrong with her. And my pediatrician, Dr. Tom, said, why don't you go see this guy, Ray, in Jersey City? I heard people are getting better by him. So lo and behold, my heart, I said, I know that's where I have to go, because I was praying and asking God where to
Wow.
send me. So I met him, I think I met him about 9 months after he received his first stigmata in 1999. And he was just a regular motorcycle guy. He would be your best friend. Everybody loved him. He grew up in Jersey City. Very interesting. Before he lived in his house, supposedly a young man in a wheelchair. It used to be a field of roses, and this child was miraculously healed. A beautiful woman appeared to him 3 times. I think their last name was Veteramo. And that was before Ray lived there, and then the house got built. So he was just a regular guy. He grew up in the house next door, found this painting of Mary and St. Anne. St. Anne is Jesus' grandma. Mary is the Blessed Mother. Someone was throwing it in the garbage.
It was thrown in the garbage.
Thrown in
Someone was throwing the
Yeah.
garbage when the
Are you
VIP
kidding?
On the side of the street, he picked it up.
And he was
on
a
his phone.
teenager. So
Oh
Ray was
my
a teenager.
goodness.
So this was way before everything
Wow.
happened. And
Wow,
he said,
it's
how
right.
did they throw this away?
How?
I wouldn't want to be around for the lightning bolts that came down that day.
No.
He brought it home for his mother.
Oh,
He brought this main painting home, and his head always looked oily, and they would almost wash it down. and then it stayed in their basement for years. He moved to the house next door. Then his son was getting spooked by ghosts or something.
Is that the picture Brian just put up on the
Yes.
screen?
That's, yes, that's the picture of, that's this Mary.
Is that
Yeah,
the
that's part of it.
tearing here?
It didn't start weeping until 1998. October of 1998, the month of the rosary, is
Wow.
when the first tears started coming out of Mary and St. Anne. It was an oil tin painting.
Okay, so please
So
continue.
he was a regular guy. He had no idea what he was doing. He brought the picture out because his son was being scared by ghosts. His son was married at that point, so it was older. You know, he was an older man then, maybe 50, I don't know, 45. And all of a sudden, he said, "Let's pray the rosary." And he didn't really know what he was saying. He never prayed the rosary, but the daughter-in-law knew how to do it. So they started praying the rosary, and then the tears started coming out of the picture. He freaked out, and he put it back in his garage and, like, wouldn't go in there for a while. And then I guess he had a dream with the Blessed Mother, and she said he was to be a healer, and this was all going to happen if he would accept it. And he said yes. And then that's when it started happening.
And what started happening?
He started doing healings.
Yeah, he started, well, he was like a regular rough and tough sort of guy, you know, like this guy over here, you know, and this was the last thing that he would ever really, or that even I or anybody else would expect from Ray Scott. So wonderful guy, everybody loved him.
That's you and him?
That's me and my daughter right when she was healed. She was 26 months old. And
And that's Ray in the middle there, right?
yep, there's Ray. And if you, I don't know if he has a stigmata then or not. I can't tell.
Oh, looks
I don't
a little
think
bit
so.
on the
Yeah.
the
Maybe.
back of his
Yeah, there you
head.
go.
No,
There's
there
a stigmata,
it is.
yeah.
Yes.
So he had stigmata occasionally on and off. I was very close to him for 12 years. He continued to work at the prosecutor's office in Jersey City. He met tons of people. We had so many people go down and pray with him. Many people were healed. His main mission was really asking people to pray the rosary to get closer to the Blessed Mother. That was his mission. So that's why he thinks people were healed. He didn't really understand why this all happened to him. He would never call himself a healer. He always said it was through Mary and Jesus, that Jesus is the one who heals.
That's the truth.
It is the truth.
But it kind of snowballed. So many people were blessed. The holy oil was mailed around the world because chalices would fill up. It was a Marian apparition. If you read about that, they're always pretty much the same all over the world. And I was very blessed to be part of it.
Absolutely.
That's
And
good
you
thing.
helped him also, didn't you?
Yes, I prayed with him all the time on the phone,
Yes.
and I mailed out the holy oil, and yeah, I got people.
Tell us about mailing out the holy oil.
The whole oil is from the painting?
Yes, so the painting that we saw before, so oil would stream up, but also chalices, I guess Ray
You
had
gather it.
dreams. Yes, and they would say that he would put jars out and chalices, and Greg saw this all the time, and his wife.
yeah.
And it would just fill up miraculously, and we would put them in little cotton swab in little packets, and I would mail them around the world. So many people had miracles from that holy oil. It was really very surreal, the whole thing, because I saw his hands open up many, many times, like start to bleed. He didn't really understand any of it. He said usually it was happening when someone was being healed. The holy oil was for faith, and he also always said with faith, people had to have faith. You can't just like dab on the holy oil and say, I hope this works. You know, you have to pray, you have to be sincere from your heart
Absolutely.
and realize that, and however you pray, that was fine, you know.
And as far as Margaret, you had tremendous faith regarding this. Why don't you tell us about that, a little more detail, because you were talking about that earlier before the show. What had exactly
Well, my
happened to you?
oncologist, had given me the information. We had surgery to show that it was 4-stage non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. There was no cure at the time in 2000. It was in my bone marrow, so there was really no hope for the doctors. They were just like, go pick out your casket. And I had my little kids at home. I was nursing one of them, and I said, I'm not leaving. So at the time, though, I asked my mom to come help, and she died of breast cancer. We buried her on my birthday, but I know that she went up to heaven, and she made it possible for me to meet Deanie and Ray and to make, that connection where, I would get prayed for. But again, Ray did pray for me, but I had to believe that I was going to be healed. So,
The
When you're,
faith.
faith.
when you're faced with that kind of,
and then the night I
that
saw Ray,
diagnosis,
and I
yeah.
believed because I knew I wanted to live. And then I also felt my mom's presence at the same time fighting for, to tell the oncologist I need another CAT scan. And that night, of course, the blessed mother came, and she appeared, and she didn't speak, but she said, "You're going to be okay." I could read her mind.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, telepathy.
Absolutely.
Telepathy, yeah.
Yes.
And it was
That's
kind
how
of like
they
an outer body
communicate.
experience, because I don't believe I was still in the bed. I think I was up. I went up to her.
Probably
and-
so.
Be left a little bit above your body, honey. That's what happens.
Yes.
And then she came down
came.
a little more, and then you meet
You meet.
somewhere on that middle plane. That is absolutely fantastic. And so then tell us what happened after that.
After I met her, my body had gone numb. It went numb for a total of 5 nights. I woke up, it was Christmas Eve. I felt like Wonder Woman. I felt like I wasn't dying anymore. And I remember saying to my husband, I think I'm going to call Dr. Fitzgerald. And he said, no, he's going to think you're crazy. Don't do it. And that's when my mom came, and she was like, do it, do it.
Your mother came
She
to
held my
you.
hand, and she's
Yes.
like, make that phone call. And I called the oncologist, and I fought with him, and he finally gave me another CAT scan, and it was negative.
that's
So,
And it was negative.
yeah, it was negative.
That's the
God
that's
bless.
the best to watch
Yes.
them cringe,
It was-
because they're not the final word. Nobody has the right to put a toe tag on you before it's your time. And that's what they do now.
Yeah.
And then once they get to a certain point with all their, crackpot treatments, all right, then they just, wash their hands of you. Next, ka-ching.
At the time, it was winter, and I had roses, and they lived all winter. So from her presence of coming to my
That's
house,
the mother loves roses.
Mother.
I had roses up until we moved. Yeah, like 6 years later, we still had roses
Wow.
all year.
Talk about a symbol, a
Yeah.
sign.
And that was
My
always
goodness.
Ray's property also.
Yeah,
had
Ray
roses
always
that
had
were
roses
lasted
out
year
front.
round
Well,
too.
yeah.
Yeah, his property also.
Even in the snow,
mine.
didn't matter.
Greg, you got any fascinating stories from, right?
Yeah, Greg.
Just remembering Nancy and Miriam working together in the Jersey City school system, there would be days after day that Nancy would not want to go home alone because of things moving around in the house. There's like this glass tray that she had her perfume on, and there would be statues on it, and they would line up in order, and they'd move around on the glass tray because the glass had gotten oil on it, miraculously.
Yeah.
And she wouldn't want to go home alone, and Miriam would go home with her time and again. And I would get word back from Miriam after she got home and telling me what's new at the Rosary house or at Nancy's house. And there's oil dripping on the wall, drawing pictures. There was a cross by the light switch in the bedroom that would drip oil to the extent where plastic cups were eventually put around each aperture of the cross. And
It's upside down, but
Oh, there. Oh, okay.
it's upside down, but that's the.
Oh, it's
that's
upside
why. Yeah, unfortunately, it's upside down. The oil was,
yeah,
but hieroglyphics would
yeah,
come
the
all over
oil's
the
coming out
walls.
for us.
Yeah, it was amazing. And then during the Lent and around Easter time, and usually maybe right before Christmas, but definitely right before Good Friday, in the oil sometimes there'd be little droplets of blood.
Oh, boy.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Remember when the chalice is filled up with wine?
Oh, yes, that happened for a
Filled
Holy
up with
Thursday,
wine?
right? For a Holy
Yeah.
Thursday, I
What
believe.
I didn't see that.
How about that?
Beautiful.
It was it was a very miraculous time. It was very surreal. We were very lucky to be part of it. But, and then you go back to the real world, but you're like, just know that God is here and God hears us and God is with you and you're never alone. And it's,
Yeah, never alone.
and our job now is to bring that to other people and let them know that too.
That's why Tommy and I wanted to do this show tonight with you wonderful, blessed people, so our audience could hear, what has happened to you. Miracles really do happen. So if you have the faith is key, right?
Faith.
Yeah. If you have the faith,
That's right.
miracles can happen for you too.
Nobody has the final word but you.
And it's not just oil dripping from the front of the painting where Mary's eyes would weep and crosses would appear on the front of the painting. The back of the painting would constantly draw images of Mary, images of the Nativity, images of All Saints Day.
Was it 9/11?
Our Lady of Fatima, Our
There
Lady
you
of
go,
Guadalupe
right there.
Day.
That was All Saints Day. You can see
I can see the
faces
saints.
behind
I can see
them.
them behind them, yeah.
And yeah, and it happened the first probably 5 or 7 years. It happened a lot, and then something got etched in. But the more that people were healed, the more the painting faded, and Ray was getting sicker. So then it slowed down a little bit because he was, I don't know what you want to call it, but he was giving a little bit of something to each person that was healed, his energy or his.
His life energy.
It was
But
getting- yeah.
the main painting of Mary Ann, the whole thing would fade, and I'm like, maybe it's from the oil. And I'm like, Ray, why is it fading? And he's like, I have no idea. But I think his health was fading, and
How did he pass? What was
massive stroke.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, then he was in a coma for about 11 days. He was only 64. He was,
Wish I
he
would've
was
known
very
him.
young. Yeah,
Would have liked to have had a chance.
he would have loved him.
I would have loved to have a chance to not have that happen to him.
Oh, is this what you were referring
Yes.
to,
Yeah,
Greg?
that's a Nativity.
The painting
Wow.
was tin, and there was of Mary and St. Anne. There were hundreds of them made.
Yeah, I have one. You have one? Or
Yeah.
two? Or
Yeah, I have a couple, but
have
the
two.
only ones that wept were
You
the
have
ones
one
in
too?
Jersey
I have
City.
two.
two?
Yeah, the only ones
Nancy
that
told
wept
me to
were
go get my own, and I went on eBay, and there was two, so I bid on both, and they came before Easter. It was crazy.
How about that?
Yeah.
I was
Cheers,
sitting in
happy
church one day, and the Society for St. Anne wrote one in and put it on the altar of the church. So I'm sitting there, I know that painting,
Did it start-
and I
did it sta- did it-
texted
Did
everybody.
it start oozing oil?
No,
No,
no, it was just,
I just
the-
brought it in. All right.
that was
Okay.
their painting, that was their image that they were respectful to.
Ray always prayed to Jesus, Mary, and St. Anne. Because he said, why wouldn't you ask Grandma? Like, why would your mother and Grandma say no to you if you're asking them for a blessing or for a miracle? You go to your mother, you go to your grandma. You go
This
to
is true.
Jesus, your father.
This is true. This is true.
And a fun little factoid, my son's been trying to get his son baptized. He just moved. The one church said he had to be there for a few months. Then he was trying to do it in the next couple months. And now the only date available is July 26th, which is St. Anne's feast day. And I'm like, it's probably the day he's supposed to get baptized.
That's the day that's
Yeah,
it.
so everything comes around.
That's what you call
full circle.
divinely guided.
Yes, uh-huh.
No coincidences
Yeah.
there, not at all. So, how have you felt growing up? And this is just, so how do you interpret this? How did you view this growing up with seeing your mom have such a miracle?
I think I was very young going through it with her, so I don't think I was really able to grasp it at that early of an age. I always knew she always shared her story with us, and but I think everyone really is on their own spiritual journey. So even though we were raised going to church on Sundays, and I think my own life experiences have shaped my own spiritual journey.
Yes.
So definitely, as an adult, even though some people might think, oh, well, you were raised with this, so that it's not a part of me because I was raised with it. I think
Yes.
my own spiritual journey has helped me appreciate her spiritual journey. So I think just having a deeper faith for my own life experiences has helped me appreciate what she has been through. So,
Absolutely.
and we're very spiritually bonded, I would think. As I get older, we just get closer.
Hey, you pass on the blessing.
Yeah, and didn't you say, yes. And didn't you say earlier when we were in the other room before the show, you had another child after that?
Yes. Oh, from the chemo I did have before my miracle, they had said I was sterile, and I was like, I have 4 healthy children. I'm healthy. I'm okay. I don't need any more kids. And 5 years later, I got pregnant. So, of course, they didn't like that. They didn't want me to have the baby because my hormones. But I said no. This is a miracle, and I'm gonna have this child. And she was healthy, and I was healthy, and I know I made the right decision of keeping her.
That was God pulling rank. That's what that was.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so, do you still pray the rosary?
Every
And-
day.
Every
Yes,
day.
Every day.
Every day.
I do 3 a day. Yeah,
You
and
do.
Greg does too.
You
I
said
do the whole rosary, all four
He does 4
mysteries.
mysteries a day. I do 3 a day.
really.
I saw too many blessings. I can't play games with the rosary. We got
How long does this rosary be? It's like 50 beads?
No, it takes literally maybe 15 minutes,
I
13 minutes if
I
you do
got
speed
one
rosary,
home
speed
that's-
praying.
Goodness
I got
gracious.
one home, I think it's for Fatima. rosary thing. I will be honest with you, I've never really been the rosary guy. You know what I mean? Because my path is different. But I know a lot of people who do that. And there's a lot of times you'll see me do that on this.
Which is very much
All
the
it
same.
is all you need is the beads. And this is hematite, it's healing. And I do that. And I'll say a couple of prayers. You know, I may not say Catholic prayers. I do from time to time. But I incorporate my connection first, and then I say those prayers. So that's how it works for me.
And how do you interpret, you know, whoever wants to answer this, how do you interpret that the rosary is so powerful? I'm just asking you for the audience.
Well, if you read about what the Blessed Mother, she gave it to Saint Dominic, I think 17 or 1800s, that's when she gave the rosary. And there's 15 promises if you pray the rosary that the Blessed Mother said. So if you read that and if you try it, you'll see your life changing. And so a lot of people will say, just try to do 1 Hail Mary a day, and then try to do maybe 1 decade. And Our Father and 10 Hail Marys. It takes 2 minutes. So I always say, do you have 2 minutes for God? People will be like, I guess so. And then once you do that, you'll be like, well, that was pretty easy. So then the rosary is basically 5 of those. It's pretty quick. There's some mysteries in between. You can learn all that stuff after, but you become, it
Becomes a part of
changes
you.
you.
It becomes a part of you.
Part of you. And I think spiritually you just grow and you, there's, I don't know, you just learn a lot about life from that, and you get, your faith grows, and you're wanting to help other people grows, and just goodness comes out of it.
A lot of times it's
from what
being,
I've
just,
seen.
you know, just being around that and being around people who happen to be sick, and all of a sudden they get well. And then you don't even know why they got well, because you're not putting 2 to 2 together. You're a healer, and you're around them. And all of a sudden I had something happen with a lady I know. A cousin called me, and she said, can you call my cousin? She's in Florida. So I called the cousin, and she goes, my sister just moved down here. She was a teacher for 30-something years up here in New York. And she went down there, perfect health, everything retired, everything happy. She had stage 4 and stage 3 in like 3 different places. So I said, all right, we're going to start prayers. I was telling her what to do down there. And I started the prayers up here. A couple of weeks went by, you know, I was still doing prayers on her. And she went for her PET scans and everything else like that. And she was clean. There was nothing there. And the doctors were baffled by it. You know what I mean? And that, for me, that was the validation to let me know to keep on going and keep on doing.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Never lose that faith. You know, you're not going to, I won't say you're not going to win them all, but, you know, sometimes God wants the people to come home.
Yes.
And,
can
and
attest
that's
to
it.
that,
But
right,
you
Greg?
can make their ride so much easier. And that's happened, you know. I lost dear friends and things as of late. I even had one as I was out to dinner. As I was sitting there talking to my friends who were good friends with him and his wife, he jumped in me. And I knew it was him. And it was, all of a sudden, I started like shaking. I didn't know it was Ramada. But he had, you know, wanted to let his wife know that he was okay. He was all right. You know, it was really a strange experience. But I tell you one thing. When you go on the other side, you come back, or you have that experience, the love that he feels for his wife from over there, you think you love your husband, you think you love your wife, nothing compared to that. That's like turbocharged. You know, I
Pure
had
love.
never felt that. He gave me the gift to feel that, so I know what to expect.
So you felt how much he loved her.
Oh, forget about it. It's just unbelievable.
Wow.
When your mother would come to you, what were you were feeling this tremendous amount of love, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the most beautiful feeling, isn't it?
But it's a love like no other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not like what you have here.
No.
What you have here is Mickey Mouse.
Yeah.
You know, over there,
When I do readings and I connect with loved ones on the other side for people, that's what I always feel. Just pure, beautiful, divine love. And I just needed to say this to you, how you were talking about what your mother did. She was working with the angels, and that is the truth. Because when we leave this earth, we are at that angelic realm where then we can call upon the angels also to empower, to help our loved ones here. And that's why a lot of times people get mixed up and they think that their loved ones are their angel now. But what it is they still are a spirit and their
It's a
spirit
spirit, yeah.
guide. However, they are working so closely
That's right.
with the angels. And that's why what people feel is that angelic realm, you know?
See, what most
So that is
people-
beautiful. Yeah.
What most people don't realize is that on this incarnation that we're here at the same time, all right, we are spirit having a human experience, not the other way around. See, most people in a lot of organized things really think that it's the other way around, and it is not. You are spirit. This is not who we really are. This is just what you see here. This is the envelope. It is spirit that's inside. That's why when you leave your body and you go out and you like Mary and I know we go out at nighttime all the time. And I know the sensation of coming and going. And so does she. All right. But you guys do it too.
Yeah.
Be aware. Be aware.
Yeah, for sure. I feel also, especially when you're praying the rosary, don't you feel like you're kind of like leaving your body a little bit? Thank you.
Sometimes
Yeah.
you do feel like,
Yeah, you go
sometimes
into
you
a
feel like,
trance
wow,
kind
that
of.
was really very intense and spiritual. Yeah.
You're connecting so high
That's
to those higher realms, those higher levels, and that's how miracles happen.
That's right. When
But
when
you
get-
were all so lucky, so blessed. Blessed. That's the word.
Not lucky. That's
No, I
divinely
know.
guided.
Absolutely.
When I go to my beach that I have sanctified for the Blessed Mother and for Michael the Archangel, things happen there all the time. Yeah, between a crow that came out of nowhere that was talking to me, not physically talking, it was, you know, like they do. You know what I mean? And I'm talking to the bird. I'm saying, "Pretty bird, you want to come home with me?" You know? 'Cause I love crows, you know. And she's telling me that's strong
do I.
totem medicine, you know, in Native
We see a lot
Americans.
of,
So-
Dee
and-
always sees.
Yeah,
You see crows? You see
Yeah, all the time.
I
birds?
see, yeah, I see
All
tons of
the time.
birds. I've seen
Yeah.
cardinals every morning.
I got doves.
Absolutely.
I got mourning doves, which is my favorite bird.
The morning
That's
dove.
always on my neighbor's house and my house.
Wow.
The morning dove.
The cooing. When I wake up in the morning and hear that, it's just, it's so
Well, you're going to see the
divine.
baby. The baby, he flutters from there to the fence that separates the two houses, and he's on the thing like that. And he's like, then he doesn't fly. He flies about maybe 8 to 10 feet, and he lands. So he's just getting his wings, you know, getting it under him. But soon enough, she'll get old enough, or he'll get old enough, and pair off somewhere else with somebody else, and they pair for life. You
Yeah,
know,
they do.
They do.
Yeah.
They pair for life, which is like cardinals. I love cardinals for this. That's usually a sign of a loved one that's
Yes.
passed that comes to
And I've
you.
been seeing them every morning. I'm like, hello.
So I think, you know, there's somebody there with you.
Somebody, yes, some people.
You know, but on
So,
that.
I'm
sorry.
sorry. I just wanted to say about the cardinal. I wanted to share this with Deanie, you know, about the cardinal with my friend. So anyway, her father had passed away, and you know how the cardinal really represents our loved ones that have passed. When you see a cardinal and the cardinal keeps coming. Long story short, she wasn't paying attention to it. She wasn't paying attention. This cardinal started banging on her window, and to such a point that the only way that the attention was gotten was what happened was she has a very large home, and she would go upstairs, and there would come the cardinal banging. It was her father trying to give her a message.
hello.
She wasn't, no more than that,
wasn't
helping
listening.
her with different things in her life, and she wasn't listening, and finally now she realizes she's listening. I mean, throughout her, no matter what room she would go in,
Wow.
and
that's
only her,
crazy.
nobody else in her family,
her.
just her. This was
So
happening. It was
interesting.
amazing. I'm sorry.
So what I
I
was
love
saying,
birds.
what I was saying about that, you know, you guys are doing the rosary, and when I go to the beach, I'm not doing the rosary, obviously, but if I have people who are sick and stuff, I have a list that I put on either to a piece of paper. If it's only one person, what I'll do, I'll go down there and I'll sense like a stone or a shell or something that is calling my attention. I'll pick that up and I'll put all the energy on that for that person. And then I'll cast it on the outgoing of the water, because water is kinetic.
Okay.
It comes in, You breathe in God's prana. When it releases, you release everything negative that you want to get rid of. And having a sickness like that is negativity.
Yeah.
And I have the name on the shell. I put it on there, and I hold it close to my heart. I put everything negative that's a problem with them, and then I just toss it out into the sea on the outtake of the waves, and those people get better.
That's great.
You know, so
That's nice.
there's a lot to be said. It's a different method. It's where you have your rosary beads and things like that. This is my rosary.
And it's all connected,
And
right?
it's all
Everybody
connected.
has their own
Absolutely.
journey and how to pray, and
Exactly. And, you know, when you're talking about the water there, that's a wonderful thing to do if you're having problems in your life, or if you're really upset about something. What you can do is just go to the beach, like what Tommy's talking about, find a stone, find a shell, and just blow in all those things that are bothering you with your prana, and then just throw it out as far as you can.
Into the
Seriously, into the ocean.
And
It's a form of release, and emotionally, you really feel that surge of release. You
You know,
do.
it's symbolic. You're doing something symbolic with it. Using your rosary beads are symbolic.
Right.
It's symbolic of the Blessed Mother's promise to Saint Dominic, of all these things. And when you do symbolic work, okay, and you do the work of the Blessed Mother, of Jesus, or whoever, okay, you will get the sign that your prayers have been received. You will definitely get some type of sign from that.
Well, these blessed people
Well,
sitting at this table
they've had their signs.
some major signs happen to them,
That's
right?
true. I wanted to ask you something about his race stigmata itself. Had any of the blood ever been collected?
yes.
Oh boy, did I hit? We just opened the next chapter of the book.
Yeah, you just
All right,
you hit
Greg,
on
tell me
something
about
here.
it.
No, he was a Hudson County prosecutor's office. He had the blood tested, and it was human blood without platelets. It was,
Wow,
yeah,
Without platelets.
without platelets, how did that?
yeah.
You always made me do that one
Right?
thing.
All right.
I don't know exactly that, but I know once I was with him on Ash Wednesday towards the end of his life, and his hands started bleeding. At this point, he had diabetes, so he had to prick his finger every day.
Yeah.
So he pricked his finger here, and it came out really high. And I said, let's stick that in your stigmata blood. Because it was just me and him. So he did it, and that blood count came out perfectly normal. It was crazy. So, like I say, that was Jesus's blood. And
Oh,
this
I
was
just
his
got
blood.
chills all over
Yeah.
my body.
Is that you?
No, really, throughout my entire body.
It was, yeah, that was
Yeah.
pretty. I was just me and him. We had a bunch of rosary beads. I think we just went to church after. Yeah, it was right. It was on Ash Wednesday, and I remember I was like, "Wow, that is pretty amazing."
It's funny because just saw something,
Yeah.
the blood, and then doing the cross on the head.
Oh yeah, he had ashes. Yeah, we had the ashes from Ash because it was Ash Wednesday.
All right, well, see,
So-
we're on the right page here.
Yeah, and so I don't know if anybody has his blood. I do have some tissues with his blood with the date on it, and
There is.
but just in my drawer.
I'm going to tell you, I have to say it. I wasn't going to say it. I really feel his presence here.
I'm sure he's here.
Of course, my goodness, right? I truly feel it.
He would love you guys. You guys are great.
I just wish
Well,
we
love
had
him.
been able to.
At least you can tell me
yeah.
what happened with me.
Oh my God, yes.
Yeah, well, yes, he was very intuitive also, and he never really said he was a psychic or anything, but he definitely
He
could
knew.
he knew everything about everybody. It was
Because
kind of
he was-
crazy.
he-
He could read souls, like, it was very,
He was
just
divine.
because I was very close to him,
He was divinely engaged.
yes.
Divinely engaged, truly impinged upon.
That's right.
There's
I
that
love
word,
that
right?
word.
I love that word. That's my sister Judy's word, but that is the truth.
You know, I just heard they'll say it.
Wow.
And when my daughter didn't walk and I brought him to the rosary, were you there the first time? I don't know if you were there. at that
No,
rosary.
not the first time.
So he had everybody praying for her. I mean, this is when the doctors didn't know if she'd walk. I mean, she was looked like a beautiful little angel with the blonde curly hair and
I saw the
everything.
picture.
Yeah, we saw the
Yeah,
picture
and
before.
that was another girl, Lori, who had a miracle, who couldn't walk either. That was another
Which
story.
one?
Really?
Yeah, it was
The little girl with
And
yeah,
look at
little
the
girl.
picture of Saint Anne there.
Yeah, that's the main
see it
picture,
clear?
probably. Yeah, that was
Yeah.
before it
See
was
it a
really getting
lot clearer
faded.
there.
And
Look at that.
but when he prayed with me, so I went down and he called me a couple of days later. 7 neurologists were going to look at my daughter at Columbia University. This was before she was walking, but after I met him on the Friday. So Tuesday and Wednesday we were going down. And he called me, and he was like a rough and tough motorcycle guy. And then he called me and did this prayer. And it was the most beautiful, eloquent prayer that I ever heard in my life. I wish I could remember it. But I remember hanging up the phone. He was praying about the trip and that and that's when he promised me she would walk the next weekend. I hung up the phone and I said, who was that? That was not that man, Ray. And I know it was the Holy Spirit talking through
Coming
him.
through, yeah.
And it was chills
Amen.
all over my body. Absolutely life-changing, really, that prayer.
Greg.
Now, is that Greg?
That's
There's
Greg.
There you are, Greg. Oh, look at.
Yeah.
Wow.
What were you,
We should
19?
talk about the Annunciana.
Oh, with Nancy?
Nancy, yeah.
Yeah, so Ray would get a lot of messages. You can tell him, Greg.
Yeah, please,
go
Greg.
No, you tell.
Come on, Greg.
You know the story.
They,
more than
they
me.
would be in the evenings or, bedtime, they would be, Nancy would be visited by Mary and write down messages while Ray is in a trance, speaking
Latin.
messages and different dialects, different languages, and
It's amazing when that happens.
yeah.
And sometimes he would speak Latin.
Latin, yeah.
And were you present for those things too?
Part of it.
happened?
Well, I mean, I lived an
Please.
hour away, but he had a rosary every month, so I would go to that.
Wow.
Yeah, I brought a girl once. Her name was Gina. She just had her 4th in vitro, and she couldn't get pregnant. And I took her to see him, and he called me the next day and said, Gina's going to get pregnant. She's going to have a little boy. And she did. She got pregnant without the in vitro, and she ended up having a boy, and then she had a girl.
Without the in vitro.
Without, yeah, she was only allowed 4 in vitros. They don't do any more than that. And they failed. And then the month later, she got pregnant on her own because she saw Ray.
Oh, that's good.
Beautiful.
I know another woman, Shayna, too. I remember her calling me crying, hysterical, because there was no way she could have kids. And she heard about Ray, and I talked to her, said, go to Jersey City, meet him. So Ray met them. He's like, you're going to have more than one. They were just trying to have one baby. They have 3 beautiful daughters now. Yeah.
Oh.
Really, so crazy things happen.
Oh, look at that picture there. What's going
He's
on
bleeding.
there?
It's-
Everybody,
yeah,
healings?
Yeah, it's a healing. He's got blood on his.
Yeah, so we were probably doing a rosary. And then there are certain times when he would take his gloves off. Oftentimes he would wear his gloves. He was kind of private, but he probably felt that group was faith, and he would take it off and then was letting people like touch it and pray by his stigmata. So,
Wow.
yeah.
Wow. Wow.
If you ever see that, you guys have seen it, but if you ever see that, a person with stigmata, it's something you just never forget. And I told you what happened to me with that. And that's only because Mary and I had on a previous show. I'm not sure, was that the podcast? We mentioned
No,
we
I
said-
think it was when we did a Astrology, Angels, and More Ascended Master show.
Yeah, yeah, right
and the
after.
next morning, you
Yeah.
sent me these pictures
I-
of. Go ahead.
It was just, we were talking about Padre Pio, and, Padre Pio is the stigmata priest that did healings, Catholic priest. And he was extremely unique for the time that he lived. And we were discussing him and how I'm a part, like an aspect of him. And that morning following, I was in the shower. And I was doing my prayers in the shower, which I do. And I just opened my eyes after the prayers were over, and I looked at my hands were bleeding, blood all over the place, on my feet, on my hands. And I thought maybe I cut myself, maybe a razor in the shower with the ladies with the legs and everything else. I didn't know what to think. I got out of thinking the first person I called was her. I said, "You ain't gonna believe this."
Oh, my goodness. No, it was.
But I did feel very, very blessed by that because at least I know that my feelings and my thoughts of Padre Pio being with me is absolutely a fact. That was validation on that. Now tonight, when I go home tomorrow morning on the shower, so I'll let you know.
Well, remember too, Tommy, that was after, shortly after, when I had been so sick.
Yeah.
And we were asking for Padre Pio's help.
All the
to heal
healing
me.
that
Yeah.
we had done over that time when she was sick, it was,
18 months.
Yes, and working on her every single day and trying to make sure that her mindset wouldn't go to the wrong kind of thoughts. You're sick this long, you start to think all the worst things. And perseverance. It was perseverance. It was work on it. I reminded her on a regular basis who she is. And, we just helped each other.
Well, it was really kind of hard then too, because in that 18-month period, I didn't lose, but they went to heaven, 9 members of my family, including all my
9.
siblings, 9 members of my family. This is the truth. And plus 2 extremely close friends and mentors in my life. Spiritual, very strong spiritual people. And so it was very, very difficult. I mean, I was kind of like, but Tommy kept me, and Padre Pio. So I really have always thanked Tommy for that, because, after a while you can start, maybe I belong up there with my family.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, because they couldn't figure out what was wrong with me. Finally, Mount Sinai did.
You finally listened.
Yeah, because he told me, right after I got so sick, he said, stop messing around with all those doctors in New Jersey. You should see, oh my gosh, every doctor. They couldn't figure it out, putting me on all kinds of crazy medications. And then finally, I listened to Tommy. I went to Mount Sinai, okay, because I was so sick. It was to make a trip from the Jersey Shore, to Mount Sinai in New York. That was kind of hard. But, boom, they figured it out, okay, with lab tests and everything, that the other doctors were not equipped. And 2 weeks later, after taking the medication they gave me, I really started feeling alive again. It was really, I feel a miracle. I truly, truly do.
It was because, she was basically on the edge of depression because this wasn't going away. It wasn't stopping. It just continued. She was so misdiagnosed
You understand.
from the get-go. Misdiagnosed. And it went on and on. They kept on putting on all these crazy things and do this and take that and go see this one here, this hospital. It was just like.
And here, what I do, I am a healer.
Yeah.
And yet, heal thyself. And I.
Can you heal yourself?
Yeah.
Well, yes.
You can.
Yes, but when you're under that amount of, with all that loss, it's pretty difficult to do.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? How do you,
Listen, these things hit you at the most inopportune moments. I had my brother, my best friend, and my beloved Jack Russell die within 52 days. And my wife called the doctor, and she said,
terrible.
you got to give him something before he kills somebody. Because I was so on edge. It was very bad. So I was going to see I was flying down to Florida on a Thursday. It was Wednesday. I was in Brooklyn. I had a client of mine who was unable to meet me at that time. She said, can you wait an hour? I said, sure. So I went into a sandwich shop. It had to be the last one in creation. It was a Blimpie sandwich shop in Dyker Heights in Brooklyn, the original. Anyway, it was there.
Anyway, yeah.
I go in there, and something said to me, sit down and eat inside and relax. Okay. So I ordered what was new. It was a panini. I took one bite, got lodged in my throat. I couldn't breathe. Right? So now I'm looking at the guys, the 2 short Mexican guys behind the counter. I'm going, right? So I guess they figured out what it was. And I have these 2 guys out there beating the hell out of my back, and nothing's happening. I'm blacking out, and next thing you know, there was this big guy came out of the kitchen, and he did it, boom, and he got it out. After thanking them profusely for saving my life, people say, like, you know, when you're in a near-death experience like that, you know, oh, I went through a tunnel, I saw Jesus, I saw this one, I saw that one. I didn't see anybody. You know what I was hearing? Please don't let me die like Mama Cass Elliot. That's what I was hearing.
Yeah.
So somebody on the other side had a sense of humor.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was like, what? You know, I came out of this thing here, and I went home and I was told my wife what happened and everything else like that. I sent a little article that I wrote to the local newspaper. They're thanking them, and then they printed it. It was just like, you know, a good experience. After that, I came back home. About a year or so later, I'm in the kitchen with my daughter. This guy's working in the street, laying out new sewers or whatever it was. And she went and got something for us to eat. I took one bite, and of course, same thing. She goes, I'm on the stoop, and I'm trying to throw myself on the railing to pop it out. And that's the only hope I had. She runs over to these guys. About 6 or 7 of them came over and got big, boom, came out. All right, fine.
Wow.
So I sent them all lunch, pizzas, everything. You know, so they had everything there. I was very grateful. This happened to me 3 times. Okay? I am very, very careful, you know, when I'm eating certain items. You know,
You should be.
Yeah, because after that, no. That's not a way you want to, no,
No, it isn't.
no.
No.
I was grateful that I'm still here.
I think the angels do protect you when things like that are happening, or like car accidents, like just like
I've
somebody
had
just
several of
misses
those, you know. They threw
Yeah.
me in a lane that was so full of traffic. And I'm really PO'd. I have to get into Brooklyn. And I started saying a little mantra that a friend of mine had told me. Says, I move fast and time moves slow. And I just kept on saying that. And I got to my destination safely, and there was a major accident ahead that I could have been involved in.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, you pick and choose your battles, and that was a good one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Greg, what else do you have to tell us? Because I have a feeling you're
Yeah,
a
I'm
wealth of
sitting over here on
information over
these,
here.
He's holding
This,
back.
Wow.
He's holding
this
I know
back.
he
tray
is.
of statues that is in Ray and Nancy's home. And not just are they moving around, but they start bleeding. They start, do we have a picture of that? I think we do, don't you?
I don't know if he was.
They-
Able,
they-
I don't know if he was able
They
to print
slide
it.
around in the oil?
They slide around in
They
the
would
oil. They
move.
would line up on high water, or they would line up facing each other, or,
They're facing usually the picture.
yeah.
Um,
And then they began to bleed.
they bled
what
usually
was
during
it,
Christmas season or Easter season, right? I think.
Yeah.
Was this after he passed?
No.
No.
Everything was while
This
he was
was
alive.
during while he was alive.
After he
Yeah.
died, everything stopped. Like, not the prayers, not the rosary, we continue that all the time, but all the supernatural
Miraculous
things.
activities, yeah. I mean, it's defying physics. I
It
mean,
is.
the laws of physics have no explanation for
No,
this.
There's
hear a lot
another
of-
one of the
you-
picture
yeah,
we
You hear a
found.
lot about the statues, like in, I don't know if it's Fatima or if it's in Lourdes or whatever.
They are.
That they drip the oil.
Is that the statue?
Yeah, that's the Mary and
That's
St.
a
Anne picture.
picture.
I think that with the flash, that's how it lit up, but that was all the oil streaming down.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
it was pretty amazing. And like, they used to have a little dish at the bottom to catch it. Like during the rosaries, it would weep quite a bit. I used
During the rosaries, you
to,
said.
like when Ray would have big rosaries, yes.
Really?
And I remember I was not there once, but my friend Debbie, who always prayed with Ray also, and a couple, maybe Miriam was probably there, a couple ladies were there having their holy oil dipping party where they'd put the cotton balls to mail out. And they said the dish should have been done, but it was just like filling up itself as they were dipping into the cotton balls to mail out. So, you know, whatever
The
God
oil
wanted
would
them
just
to have.
accumulate and just keep on
It
accumulating.
would just kept
Yeah,
accumulating.
I'm learning
yeah.
more experiences here tonight.
Here's one of, that's Debbie, who always prayed with Ray, and so I guess Ray probably had a dream or vision. Mary told him to please put out a bunch of jars. It was probably during,
Do you see the wood
Easter.
door?
oh, I never noticed that
Do
till
you
right
see the
now.
saint?
Oh my goodness! Look
just-
at that. Do you
Wow.
see
Do you know that
it?
I've never
see
noticed
it.
that till
Oh,
right now?
my
That's
goodness.
That's Padre
Padre
Pio.
That's Padre
Padre
Pio. Look,
see it.
do you see it, Greg?
I have never
Yeah.
seen
Next
that
one,
until
look
right
at that.
now.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's
my.
crazy.
Oh, wow! Okay, we just all experienced a miracle.
Wow, I've never seen that picture.
Oh my goodness.
I never saw that before.
Oh,
and that
Brian,
picture,
can you put it back up for a minute?
I find it, yeah.
Tommy, excellent. Thank you.
More validation for you,
You don't
Tommy.
know how I feel right now.
That was your gift tonight for
Yes.
having
That's
us on.
crazy.
Yes. Oh, absolutely.
I think someone's telling you to pray the rosary.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Talk about validation.
Told you I felt Ray. Told you. Oh my goodness gracious. That was amazing.
That was beautiful.
And I was looking, I didn't see it until you said it, and then boom.
Dina would have seen it before. I think it,
You never saw
new.
that?
I never noticed that
no.
before. Not until it was that. Maybe it was the way we took the picture and it just showed up and it was supposed to show
yeah,
up
it's
now.
for you.
It was
Yes.
supposed to show up for you,
was supposed to
Tommy.
show up for
It was
Tommy.
showing up for you.
That was probably a Good Friday, I think. 'cause
Thank
usually
you,
his
thank
head.
He has the
went-
thorns of Christ.
I only saw the thorns a few times. Good Fridays.
Yeah?
Right after my daughter was healed, I saw them. He really suffered a lot, especially Good Friday.
I can't get over that.
I want to tell you a quick story real fast.
Yeah, please tell.
I was
no,
praying the
please.
rosary. They thought I had breast cancer. My mom died of breast cancer. This was about 8 years ago, and I took it really serious because my mom died from it. So I was praying for everyone, and I forgot to pray for myself. The next day, I had a CAT MRI. So I was like, oh my gosh, Marie, you didn't pray for yourself. So I'm laying on my daughter's bed, and I'm praying the rosary, and I smelled roses. And I know it wasn't in the room.
No.
It was the Blessed Mother. So I fell asleep. I woke up. I went the next day to get the MRI, and the machine broke down right when I got there. The machine in the hospital broke down in Toms River. So I said, okay, it wasn't meant to be. I go the next day, I get the MRI, and then I'm waiting to find out when my surgery is going to be. They were either going to remove or take out the lumps. That's what the MRI was going to decide. So I never got a phone call. I finally called the nurse, and I said, when is my surgery scheduled? I have to take off work, and I have to plan this. And she goes, oh, you don't need surgery. There's nothing there. So it was all from praying. That was after Ray was gone, but I was, with faith, I continued to pray the rosary, and, and to Ray. We still pray to Ray, even though
There was
Listen,
Obviously
intercession.
here
listen, for
also.
everybody who's out there, I
So-
mean, you've heard the stories and you just witnessed a miracle.
Yes.
Okay, you just witnessed it.
There's his hand
All right.
again. There's some more.
You just witnessed it. So the thing I would tell you is this, like, be strong in your faith, especially in these trying times that we live. All right, this is the most important thing, is to share your faith, bring others to realize the realization that we are not alone here, and we were put here for a purpose, and our purpose is humanity. All right, our purpose is to see the humanity succeed and go forward, all right, in faith, and know that you are a child of God. And these things that you have seen here tonight, heard the stories, and have actually witnessed,
Yes.
all right? My body's still trembling.
I know. Me
Okay.
too.
Wow.
Oh, it's
That
a
was really
big
nice.
deal.
That was beyond the pale.
Yeah.
Well, you've been talking
What?
about Padre Pio, and he showed himself.
I told you, this is the second time that we this, and
With Padre Pio. Yes.
wow.
You know that's
Beautiful.
who I attributed when I finally got healed because of your connection with Padre Pio.
We were just talking
Remember,
about
I
him.
was always talking to you about that. That was amazing. And I'm telling you, Tommy, there, you got it. Okay? My goodness gracious.
And I feel like this show was probably very blessed, and Padre Pio watches over it now. That
Yes,
that,
look
I
who
feel like.
we're sitting at a table with here, Tommy.
I know.
Beautiful, blessed.
Janelle, she also had a miracle, the one next to Ray. I called two teenagers who couldn't walk, like my daughter, that were undiagnosed a few months later. And the same thing, the doctors couldn't figure out what was going on. And they both couldn't walk. They went to Morris Catholic High School. And then they came to a rosary a few months later, and they both walked at the same rosary in front of 100 or 200 people.
Wow.
Yeah, and so that was,
It's just truly amazing. Truly amazing. Wow. Wow. I okay.
Talk about being humbled.
I know.
Oh boy.
Okay. I wasn't, okay. I'm going to say it. Remember you were asking me about, we were talking about spiritual journey, and Tommy and I about the name of the show and how everything originated. When I told you about the place that I had in Freehold, okay? I shared this with you a long time ago. My ex-husband, who is now passed, he had to help me out in the store because situations that happened, and he was a man of great faith also. Both of us always prayed to the Blessed Virgin Mary, and there was a very special statue that his mother had, who had passed, that we had in the store, and we had a little kneeling place for people to come and kneel to pray. Well, we also did healings, Danny and I, and we were alone in the store, and it was at night, and we were praying to the Blessed Virgin. We were kneeling and praying for this girl, and nobody was there with us. And we saw on that statue coming down the tears, and we're both looking at it. Do we see this? Are we? So everything
Always
you
seeing it.
guys are telling me here, and that we're all connecting with, it seems Ray had such a tremendous amount of faith.
We're getting
That's why.
We're getting a wrap up.
Okay, I know, but I really feel that's why all that showed itself for him, and then he spread that throughout the world. Oh my goodness! Thank you so much for coming.
Listen, I want to thank all our guests for coming here. I mean, in all my expectations, I thought it was going to be a great show because it's on a great subject. But to have a miracle before your eyes,
That was
to be there when it was not seen before.
what a
Never.
gift.
I never
Okay.
saw
Oh,
it
you would've
before.
seen
that.
That
So-
was there for you.
That was for tonight.
All
That
right.
was one of Jeannie's pictures that she
Okay.
had.
Any everybody want to wave goodnight to anybody out in the
Oh my
audience?
goodness!
Thanks,
God
guys.
bless.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Okay,
Many, many bright blessings.
I was hoping
Many
you were
bright
gonna say that.
blessings. Many.
that's right. Well, you just had a bright blessing tonight. Wow,
Wow, that was wonderful.
that was awesome. I'm so happy
Thank
that
you
you all
so
came to the
much.
show.
You all
Thank
came.
you for having
Thank
us.
you.